I was laying in my bed, looking up at the ceiling, thinking to myself, how did I even end up here? I was always an A-star student in school, yet here I am paralyzed in fear for this stupid exam. I literally just have to show up for the exam and I would pass it. It's the freshman year of my university, the first class and the first exam of mathematics. What's the worst that could happen, right? I flub the exam, so what? Maybe I will fail multiple classes, so what? But if I fail multiple classes, I would drop out of the semester. And if I start dropping out of semesters, that means I would drop out of university. And I don't want to drop out from university. Something in me rose up that I don't want to drop out from university. I sprung up from my bed. My heart is pounding. I sit on my computer table and turn on the computer, hear the fans of my computer roaring up, and as Windows boots up, I'm just thinking to myself, how do I get out from this? I did what anybody else who ever had anxiety before did. Just Googled the most effective thing they can think of, and that was, what the hell is wrong with me? Google suggested that I was feeling overwhelmed. So I watched a couple of YouTube videos, I started reading some articles, and it feels like I'm getting somewhere. It finally clicked. I can realize that there's enormous things that have been weighing upon me. It feels like a mountain to climb, and I can break this mountain down into smaller hills, and I can work on it piece by piece. I can no longer wake up in the morning feeling a sense of dread of what are the things that I need to do and when do I need to get them by. I can even plan my days, my months, my years even. It's just freaking amazing. My heart starts pounding again, and I rise up from the chair and start pacing around my room, thinking about all the different possibilities that can happen. All I gotta do is just manage my time better. How hard would that be? So from that day, I started learning about anything I can get my hands on. From articles, to books, from videos. I tried every sort of technique there is. Pomodoro, time blocking, scheduling, getting things done, time tracking, Pareto principles, stress management, eating the frog, prioritizing tasks using the Eisenhower matrix, setting smart goals, journaling online, bullet journaling, tracking moods, showing your progress in public, working in a group of friends, going to the counselors. With all of this information, with all of the determination, it feels like I can finally take over this feelings of overwhelmness. Like everyone else, hard work does pay off, right? My brother gets sick, and I flew 3,000 miles away from home to take care of him. London is amazing, but everything is new to me. No friends, no favorite hangout spots, and definitely no money. After missing out a year from university, my dad decided that it would be better if I transferred over to London and continue my studies there. I didn't like that. Everything that I was used to, everything that I planned for, that I prepared for, that I learned was a custom at home, not London. Yet I managed to scrape by, get myself a first-class degree, and get myself a job as a software engineer in London that pays well. It feels like I got it, but it doesn't. I still have this feelings of overwhelmness, over stress. With all this, with a new job, with a little bit of more money, I decided to get some help. I hired someone to manage my time for me, essentially a virtual assistant. My very first personal assistant, that was amazing, but it didn't feel right. The things that I was asking her to do, they were too time consuming to actually convey what I wanted to do. The managing of the things, I could easily do it myself, and I spend more time explaining what needs to be done rather than just doing the work by myself. So that failed. Then I decided to hire a performance coach. I heard that people can coach me to get better at things that I want to do and maybe overcome this feeling of overwhelmness. It worked for a bit, but the amount of money that I was paying for, it didn't give any benefit. So I'm still stuck with this feeling. I want to get out. I want to feel free. There has to be a better solution to manage my stress, my anxiety, my overwhelmness, or whatever these emotional problems are. Right now, we're in the age of generative AI. Maybe it can help me fast track this process of managing my fears, my anxiety, but this is just a tool. How do I tell it to solve something for me without giving a generic response, without asking a generic question that is specifically applicable to me? Sure, it can generate a lot of answers about how to manage your stress and anxiety, but it feels like I've already know everything and tried it, but it's not really applicable to me and how I want it in my life. One thing, just one thing stayed with me. It was time blocking. The easiest thing that I tried was just try using ChatGPT and to fast track this process of managing these feelings of overwhelmness. Using prompts on ChatGPT, first and foremost, you had to pay $20 a month to get to the premium version and to allow yourself to get access to the premium features. I often find myself getting stuck at the rate limiting the amount of messages that I can send to ChatGPT or to the Pro model. I got tired of all of that and I just built my own app. Let me show you. Let me run this. Please, no errors. Okay, cool. You've got this. Welcome to TS. It's just a clone, but without any restriction. And of course, these are all the things that I can control. For example, if I go to, let's start off with the prompt designer, where I'm basically have a list of all the prompts that I create, and there's a lot of interesting things that are going on here. So let's just select this, for example, of a YouTube coach. And this vanilla GPT is basically my own version. What happens is that I can actually configure and use their own models. Like OpenAI releases or updates these models all the time. So the GPT-4 Turbo that you see on their official website is not exactly the same one. It's up to me or whether I want to use the latest one or the previous one. And the reason why you want to do that is because sometimes your prompts and the things that you like, they work well with a specific version of model, and if you change that model, then you might have to change anything, other things that you experiment within. So if I go back over here very quickly, so you can see if I go to pages and ChatGPT, or actually let's go to models, OpenAI, the LEM model, so you can see I have these different versions of models, and of course I can just change it right here and then it could actually go in. The other interesting thing was that I really was interested in voice feature, which again, it was rate limited, so I implemented my own voice feature. For example, I have 11 voice labs integrated with as well, so I have the official OpenAI voice, but I like the 11 labs voice much better. So if I just go something like, hey, help me create a video, and then it just generates the idea and also generates the voice in a British accent.
What kind of video are you thinking of creating?
But yeah, that's what it is. Could easily plan out my day and time block things. Everything is fun in games until something new comes along and it completely destroys your schedule. And it feels like I spent more time prompting, trying to get to the right time blocking schedule rather than just doing it myself. It had no memory. I always seem to have to start from scratch, defining every single thing, every single time of what I needed and what I needed to get it done. As good as it was, it still didn't solve the problem of being overwhelmed with tasks and anxieties. It was very easy to say, just follow this task from A to B and everything would work like a magic bullet. But there are 3 reasons why that didn't work. Number 1, life is not simple. There are always things that are happening that you think you know, and that there are things that are happening that you don't even know. And it's only through reflection and when that time has passed, you realize what you were going through. Reason number 2, life is full of surprises. Things change. Things take unexpected turn. People change. Your relationship change. You change. Reason number 3, life has no magic bullet. It takes time and effort to build a skill. The skill of planning, the skill of managing your time better. There were so many things back then that I was trying to do at the same time. Managing friends, trying to becoming an A-star student, managing stress, applying for internships, applying for work. On top of all of that, I was battling emotional problems that I didn't even know I had at that time. It feels similar to what I have right now. Sure, the problems are different, but I'm a new parent, I'm trying to upskill in my job, I'm trying to start a new business, and I'm trying to manage my stress. Looking back from all the journals that I wrote, another thing that worked was journaling. It's the process of reflecting. And it made me wonder, what if I can start using prompting to actually have a sort of a partner or a psychologist that can help me reflect on the things that I'm going through right now and possibly come up with some solutions. And all of this was coming from this constant desire to let go of the feelings and thoughts of I'm not good enough for this, I'm not good enough for that, and all this fear that was trying to hold me back from the things that I want to do the way I wanted to do them. This is how I managed to actually create this. Coming back to my app. So what essentially is doing is I built this emotion psychologist that basically helps me understand what I'm going through, what emotions am I thinking about the task, what thoughts come up, what am I prioritizing, what would happen if I fail, what am I worried about. And it's interesting because as you're going through these emotions of overwhelmness, over stress, just engaging your mind and just getting away from the stress response actually helps you to calm down and really think about the task that you're doing. And the other really interesting thing is I've got my own personal psychologist called, and essentially, sure, it's not a replacement for a real therapist, but it does give a partner to just go back and forth with. Of course, this is not a replacement for therapy, and it really helps you understand what you're actually going through, and it actually gives you some really cool suggestions. Of course, I've got like different versions of it, and I've actually defined like what other things I like, my personal thing. I'm male, married to a beautiful woman, etc, etc. So if I switch to vanilla GPT, can I clear the chat and have the latest GPT-4 Turbo, maybe not have the system voice for now, and just be like, hey, I am feeling overwhelmed, I don't understand why. Can't probably spell right. This agent knows what my history is, what my personal thing is, because I'm using the GPT-4 Turbo and I know exactly what version this is, so I know the amount of messages that I can store in this memory, you can say, of the agent's memory. So I think this is about 100k or 128,000 context token, which is quite a lot. You can actually fit a book in there. So I can put in a lot of information here and it will remember exactly what it is and what it was. Sometimes if I even feeling more overwhelmed, what I'll do is enable the assistant voice with a British voice. For me personally, I love that. It actually helps me calm down. So let me show you. This recording is stressing me out. It's not, but hey, look how fast that is. Of course, I'm actually paying for this, but it's a lot faster and it is exactly how I wanted it to be.
Can feel Talha. When you think about the recording, what aspects of it seem to be causing you the most stress? Let's break it down together and maybe figure out some steps to make it overwhelming.
So it's exactly what I want, and I can go back and forth with this. Sometimes I go twice. Again, this is just a tool. It's not a replacement for therapy or any other thing. It's just another tool for me. It has really helped me overcome my anxieties. I can export these chats in, put it in the prompt, or actually have implemented something called RAG, retrieval augmentation, where it could take in this large piece of document or my history essentially, and it would know every single thing about me. That's so cool. That's something that you can't really do with ChatGPT. Sure, you can go ahead and make the prompts and things like that, but there's always a limit. With this thing, when you're paying for it, there isn't, especially when you're building your own thing. It's exactly how you need it to be. Coming back, as I grow older now, I feel like I've got more responsibilities and my free time is being taken up by family, which all is well because that's what I want to do. That's where I want to spend my time with. That's what I value the most. At the same time, the time that I do have left, apart from the family time, I want to spend in the most productive way as possible. This time it feels different. I feel like whatever strategy that I came up with right now, if this doesn't work, I'm always going to come back up. I'm always going to iterate on them and try to come up with a new strategy that works for that period of time. I would love to give this tool to my past self, to anyone who struggled with procrastination, who struggled with emotional problems. In the end, it wasn't about scheduling or managing one's time. It was all about living a happy, productive life. Until next time.